So thank you, Sarah and Charlie, and welcome everyone. It's lovely to see this full room, especially as one of the first conversations was saying, oh, shall we have a small event with 20, 30 people? Would people want to come? So thanks, because you came. So that's great. So, and you came without really having a clear sense of what you were coming to join. So hopefully it'll all become a little bit clearer, although actually we want you to shape the network. So here's just some information that Sarah's already given you, but it's all there if you need a reminder of who we are. And actually the key person here probably is Ryan, because Ryan will be the person who probably you've communicated with, who's doing a lot of the legwork in putting together mailing lists and just figuring out where the people who might be interested in joining are. So it seemed fair to start today with letting you know how today has come about. So there's many of you who know me from either, past life or social media, and you will know that, I do like to talk to people, and pretty much the way that I operate is by having conversations with people, being inspired, having ideas, and then deciding that they have to happen. And we need to find a way to make them happen. So if you follow me on social media, you can normally tell when I'm cooking an idea because, there's that hashtag that is pretty much my hallmark. So I started working in Scotland just over a year ago at the University of Aberdeen, and I've loved every minute. And what drew me to Scotland was that I always felt that the conversation around cultural policy in Scotland was just more interesting, more creative, more open. Policy makers were, less frustrating, and things were interesting in a way that they aren't in England and haven't been for a while, which is what drew me here. But also, I think beyond the personal, I think there's a moment in Scotland. I remember sort of ranting about this at my job interview, when they asked me, why do you want to come to Aberdeen? It's an interesting time for people with an interesting cultural policy. There's a new strategy that's been long in the making, in the development, and there's been consultation. And now it's the interesting time where we need to see how to make it work in practice. So it's interesting times to be thinking about cultural policy. But also the critical mass of scholars has grown exponentially, largely because I'm not the only one who decided, things are more exciting in Scotland, let's go. So whilst there was already quite a significant research capacity in terms of really prominent scholars operating in Scotland, there's been, a steady influx from England and internationally. And so now there's quite a lot of us, but we are scattered. So whilst Glasgow has dedicated centres, many of us are operating in various departments of a different nature, because cultural policy research is very interdisciplinary. So we don't have many opportunities to come together and to actually talk. And I felt that there's benefits to be, well, as I would say, there's benefits in being able to have conversations with people with similar interests. And so I felt that there was some merit in creating opportunity for these varied group of people to come together, and to come together not just among themselves. So I didn't feel it would have been particularly useful to have a bunch of academics locked up in a room for 4 hours to talk about things, but to really actually bring together a wider set of stakeholders who have an interest in cultural policy, including the policymakers, but also crucially what what was brilliant about the SUI opportunity was that I was adamant that we needed external funding to make this happen, because I wanted to be able to offer bursaries to freelancing artists to be able to attend. And so we have a stipulation that about 10% of all the spaces we have for all the events we've got planned will be subsidized, so that we can allow artists, makers to be part of the conversation. So you need money for that. So when Charlie visited Aberdeen to introduce the program, I just thought that was a wonderful opportunity. And I don't know if something is going on with the camera, Nicola, but I'll keep going. So also, not that I have ambitions to conquer the universe or anything, but I felt, which I do, but I felt that as part of this moment, as part of a nation now where there's a creative mass of expertise, interesting policy initiatives, an appetite to connect with the rest of the world, which is not, which is a feature of Scotland, less so of the rest of the UK. There was actually an opportunity for Scotland to take a leadership role, an intellectual leadership role in this space, and to kind of, steal the throne from London in the southeast in terms of being the engine of innovative creative industries and cultural policy thinking. So, but we need to get together to do this, and that there's an opportunity to really raise our profile. So in terms of what I feel might be the benefits and the purpose of the network, is to raise the profile and the visibility nationally and internationally of the policy research that we're doing in Scotland, to offer all the members of the network, be they researchers, policymakers, artists, cultural administrators, the opportunity to connect, to collaborate, and also a readiness to seize the opportunities that are coming our way. Because financially, we all know that the times are tough, but there's a large number of, not a large number, there's a number of large funding schemes that have been launched that are research funders demand be interdisciplinary, engage beyond academia, and many of them are place-based, focus on communities. So there's plenty of scope for us to be involved. But we need to be ready to seize those opportunities. I hope the network can facilitate international partnerships and exchange. And that's why we were so happy to have the involvement of an international partner. We've got somebody from Ireland here. So that'll be probably something we need to work on, but I'm hoping that we can use the network to connect more effectively. I think there's still a lot of work to do in improving the connection between the research, the policy, and the creative practice community in terms of sharing our work and our expertise, and we need spaces where we can come together and when these different forms of knowledge can interact on an equal footing for mutual benefit. But also, I think there's maybe a civic duty there as well. A lot of us don't necessarily focus on research on Scotland or on Scotland alone, but nonetheless, there is a whole bunch of expertise here, and it kind of seems that that Scotland should benefit from all these knowledge that it's hosting and nurturing. And so I'm hoping that we can also get our brains together to support policy making and arts development, arts and cultural development in Scotland. And then, yes, there is that kind of world domination undertone, which is, that the network can help us really sort of lead the debate and just be a really powerful voice. Hopefully, progressive and positive, in a positive way, engaging in international debates. So this is what I hope we can achieve all together. So how are we going to do it? So I suppose there's a phase 1 and phase 2 for this network. Phase 1 being what SUI and University of Aberdeen have kindly financially supported so far. Phase 2 is a bit nebulous, but we'll figure it out. So we, as Sarah anticipated, we have committed to host 4 events, of which this is the first. So will be a launch event plus 3 other events that are thematically organized. And I will go through the themes in a minute. Now, these themes, we needed something, quite frankly, to put in the SUI bid. We couldn't really tell the lovely SUI people, lovely as they are, we couldn't just say, oh, we'll have a few meetings and talk about things. We felt we needed to structure the conversation around something. And the 3 themes you see there seem to be the things that were emerging more powerfully from policy debates, from research, from the news at the time when we were writing the application. So the 3 themes are the creative sector and post-COVID recovery, in Scotland, looking at the careers of artists, opportunities and precarity, all those challenges that I'm sure we are all aware of. And we have a date for that. So make a note in your diaries, 19th of June at the V&A in Dundee. And a 3rd theme with an event at the date to be confirmed to be held in Aberdeen will look at the role of arts in the creative sector in addressing climate change and the net zero challenge. And I guess it makes sense to have that in Aberdeen. And then we have a slightly less defined event, which looks at Scotland and its relations with the rest of the world, and how the creative sector might be part of post-Brexit relations with the rest of Europe and the world, but also how we can connect and work more and have more partnership with colleagues abroad. So that's format and location, and maybe we'll be online so that we can really have more international participation. That's all to be decided, but we will let you know. We've committed with SUI to produce a report, which will be, if you like, almost a cross between a manifesto and a research agenda, which we hope to co-produce in these 3 events, so that we can get a sense of what the community as research producers and research users feel the really important issues are. And maybe there are these 3 things, maybe there's other stuff that will come through. And so that we can have an agenda that we all feel committed to, that we feel hits the nail on the head, and we can work around together. We will also try and figure out a governance structure for this network, different kind of memberships, and how to make it work. And of course, part of this will be how do we ensure the sustainability of the network beyond this initial funded period. So there'll be, I guess, funding applications to be written at that point, but also that there might be scope for people to get more involved, have working groups. So this is all very fluid. We're still figuring out, partly because it depends on how keen you are to get involved. So if there's lots of people coming forward wanting to coordinate, theme-specific working groups, by all means, let us know, because in a way, what you want to do will shape what the network will do and look like. So what is today for? And I am going to draw to a close very quickly. Well, basically, we want you to fall in love with the idea and want to be involved and, volunteer for all sorts of engaging. And nobody says we can only have 4 events. If any of you felt they wanted to, under the aegis of the network, organize a smaller, localized or thematically specific gathering, just get in touch. It's all very fluid. We are conscious that the 3 themes we came up with, we didn't kind of randomly choose, but we didn't discuss them with you. So we want to make sure that they are the right themes to focus around. And so there'll be some opportunities for you to just fill them in, because their themes are intentionally broad, so that you can help us decide, particularly within those broad themes, what we should be looking at. Gauge the appetite for these kind of structure networks so that we can start thinking and scoping plans for phase 2, what kind of funders, what kind of size, what kind of level of ambition. It's a network, so also we hope that you meet new people today and you have interesting conversations and do lots of plotting, and feel free to, you know, tweet about it and use the hashtag. We are present on all social media channels, thanks to the indefatigable Ryan. So we are on Twitter, we are on LinkedIn, we are on Facebook. I think that's about it. There's probably plenty. And I'm about to shut up. This is not about talking at you. We'll hear from Jan, because I think it's interesting to have an international perspective. And Jan has been working on a similar kind of network in the Netherlands. But after Jan, we'll have a cup of tea, a cup of coffee to, you know, caffeinate ourselves. And then really we'll be hearing from you. There'll be breakout discussions ahead of the really important, the most important moment of the day, which is of course the networking lunch, which is probably where all the really creative ideas and collaborations are going to come out. So how is this going to work? And Ryan, help me if I get confused here, because my brain struggled with this. So we're going to have 8 tables, which I think we already have 8 tables, with 4 topics being discussed. 3 are the themes that I've just told you, and which are covered, of course, by my face. But hopefully that will go eventually there on the slide to remind you. We have a 4th topic, which is what's missing. What is it that you are horrified not to have heard as mentioned so far? Please let us know. And then we'll get you to sit at a table for 30 minutes, talk through one of these 4 topics of your choice, and then after 30 minutes to move to a different table. And we'll do this 3 times, and there'll be facilitators at each table taking notes and making sure that, you know, everybody has a chance to talk. And then we'll come together to see what has come out of these conversations. And I'm expecting that that will be a lot for us to digest and bring to the planning of the next gatherings. And then we'll just, you know, chat and eat. I think that's the plan for today. So these are the questions that are there really to get you warmed up. But really, we just want to get you a sense of what you think for the themes, how you want to tackle them, what are the key issues within those broad themes, and is there anything missing? And I think that's my last, yeah. So is it possible to leave that there so people are reminded? Oh yeah, of course. I'm sorry. Because I did this so that it could be left. So I can just close this and introduce you to Jan Jaap Nol from Amsterdam, who is the director of the Bookman Foundation, who is actually very much part of the reason why we are here, because one of the most glorious conversations where the idea for this network happened was had at the dinner table, as is often the case, in Utrecht. Was it 6 months ago?
June last year.
So, you know, it takes a while for plotting to take shape. But we were, you know, I was sharing with him my dream of seeing a Scottish network. And Jan was sharing his experience of doing it in Amsterdam. And here we are now. So, Jan, please come and tell us about your experience.
Thank you.
Thank you.